And it was opening night. The first act started, and I heard someone upstairs walking back and forth in the costume room. And I looked around and I could see audience members also looking up at the ceiling because they could hear it too. And I said, well, that's it. I'm going to go give somebody a piece of my mind. So I got out of my seat during the show, came and opened the costume room door. Nobody up here. And I said, knock it off, Sheila. I closed the door, turned out the lights, went back down. The rest of the run was quiet. So I think that was just her way of welcoming me as a director to the theater.
Sheila Lowy was one of the original founders of the theater, and she was very, very active in the theater from the first show that she did, where she played Madame Arcady in Blithe Spirit in 1954, to the last production she was involved in about 15 years later. She did 50 different shows in that 15-year period. So it's no wonder that we consider Sheila our most important ghost of the theater.
Sheila died in a tragic accident, and probably this being a place where she had felt so alive, where she had a lot of connections, she had a lot of family members who were involved out here and a lot of friends. I think this is just a place she chose to come back to.
I was working backstage in Godspell, and one of the things that I was responsible for was getting a costume from the dressing room, which was right over there, backstage, so that the actor would have it there for their quick change. And one day I went in to grab it, and it was gone. And I remember a friend of mine telling me that when things go missing, just stand in the middle of the room and say, Sheila, I need to have that back. I walked into the dressing room and it was there. There was no way for anybody to have carried it past me or for someone to have hidden it. I had 2 other eyewitnesses, and it was gone, and then it was back.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, there it is, Sheila moved it. Because you're certain that it was in the dressing room here, and it ends up being backstage. These kinds of things are because of Sheila.
Actors tend to be very superstitious people to begin with.
Theater people are very superstitious, so having that presence of the woman who founded this theater, the woman who was in our first production, really made people feel at ease, actually. So never ever a moment where Sheila wasn't a benevolent ghost, a little bit playful, but always somebody who really was the spirit, if you will, of this theater. People would come along here, smell her perfume, hear her laughter, but the door at the top of these stairs at the time was known as Sheila's door. You would go around the building at night, close every single door, lock everything up, and come back around, and this door was wide open. And you'd lock it again, and you'd go and you'd do everything. We called it Sheila's door. It was just something you always checked. It was always the last thing you did because you knew it was frequently open.
With Sheila, who actually has a name, was a person who participated and was very active out at the theater. It sort of keeps the history of the theater alive, I think.
But she was very much in love with this place, and so we believe that her spirit has come back to us to continue working here in any way that she possibly can.
She is the ghost who lingers on.